Hello, I'm Katie Schroeder, and I'm here today with Jolee Hamlin, the Capital Area District Library Senior Associate Director. How are you today, Jolee?
I'm doing well, thank you. How are you?
Good. I'm glad you asked. I was wondering if you could share a little bit about the new Read Woke challenge that the libraries are doing.
Sure. This challenge was started based on a concept that a school librarian in North Carolina by the name of Cicely Lewis. She started a movement sort of in the wake of many of the killings and the violence that were taking place against African American men at the hands of like police brutality and such. And she just wanted to um, do something positive with it and share some reading and some perspectives with her students. So she started this idea of this Read Woke, and we've added on this challenge, and many libraries nationwide are doing something along this line.
Yeah, that's absolutely awesome. So you kind of answered my next question a little bit, but how did the Capital Area District Libraries, like how did they how did you find this challenge and what made you select it?
Sure. Well, a couple things. We work with this vendor for this platform that we use for our summer reading program. That's kind of helps us run it digitally, and they actually have partnered with Cicely Lewis. So we had some awareness that was raised in that way, but we also with with COVID and with just the inability for folks to be able to kind of come and go like they normally have been able to, we wanted to do something that worked really well in a digital environment. And we also wanted to do something positive. So we thought this would be a nice sort of reading challenge for the fall. It's something that people can primarily follow along with digitally. And it's also something that we have, if you've checked it out, that there's information for all age groups. So it's something that like families and individuals can participate in.
Yeah, yeah, so for the titles and stuff, you said all age groups. So are there because there are 10 categories, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, so they all have books though for different reading levels because you said all ages. So
Sure. Hmm.
okay, that is
That's
great.
yes. Yeah, we have two different like lists or sections for each different category, one for adults and one for children or teens and adults.
Yeah, that's awesome. What are some of the categories that are in the challenge if you wanted to touch on?
Sure, sure. There's one African American voices, Hispanic American voices, Asian American voices, LGBTQ voices. There's categories that are on different sorts of ideas, people facing poverty. So there's a list on people who have experienced poverty or in their lives. There's one on immigration. So there's a variety of different types of categories.
Yes. So, how were the titles in the categories just picked? Was that like the libraries doing, or was that this the challenge overall, like nationally that chose? How were they chosen?
So we used some lists that are in the digital platform that we used from other sources. But for each of the different categories, CADL also produced two lists based on those age groups. And we had a few different parameters that we really looked at. We wanted to provide literature books that really provided like an insight into different cultures and diverse cultures and maybe people who are different from ourselves. We looked for books that actually had that sort of idea of like woke or wokeness. That doesn't necessarily mean controversial or aggressive in any sort of way. We just meant it as something that raises awareness of different people's experiences. So for example, I can give a good example, like within the kids literature, if it's just a book on, for example, that it's a picture book and there's a Korean character and that this Korean character, um, there's a picture book about food. That isn't necessarily like woke,
Right.
there could be an aspect that would be, but so we looked for that. we also wanted to, while there definitely are some classics on this list, we wanted to sort of raise awareness and just provide some titles that were both new to people and that also represented some of the vast diversity, like just in reading, that maybe people wouldn't expect. You know, another example that I can think of in the African American voices list for adults, there's a title for something that we call, like, you know, bodice rippers, like those romances that have, like, you know, the pictures of the men and women just all impassioned and all, you know, and part of that appeal is just, we often don't think of that type of romance with having like lead characters who are African American, and why not? You know, and just exposing folks to, like, hey, there's multiple resources. There's many things out there available.
Yeah, absolutely. So I know you gave a couple examples already, but what is one book from like a category that like sticks out to you and that woke you, I guess?
Oh, that's a good question. Like one book.
I'm sure there are so many.
Oh, there are so many, and I'm often like bad with, like, you know, titles. You know, I guess when we look at, like, you know, the African American voices, like, I love some of the classics. Maya Angelou's on there for I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. Um, there's one on the Asian American list for children that is just really dear to me. I'm not going to get the title right, but it's about, it's an immigrant experience story, and it's about a young boy's experience, like fishing and working with his dad as like in the fishing industry in the United States. And it's just, it's lovely. It just shares life, just like what life can look like for different people. Don't know. There are just so many. It is very hard for me to like limit like to one, but some good things.
That's awesome. Why do you think this challenge is important, like for people to participate in your opinion, and I guess as the library in general, like what is your goal? Why is it important?
Right. Well, you know, if anything, if any kind of goal that we have with it, it would just be to, again, to kind of raise awareness of the diversity in books. It would also be to just raise awareness for compassion and understanding of other people, encouraging people with that. You know, it's, as we all know, it's sort of trying times, and there's, oh, you know, the different things that have been, the riots and things that were happening this summer, and the violence, and just trying to put, like, you know, a spin on kind of getting to know people, where they are, that people, there's a variety of vast different experiences for folks. So it was neat to do something that is positive in a time that's sort of trying for a lot of us.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think too, with the media and whatnot, it's a great time to step away from that and actually have like some literature that you can look at and talk about and start a conversation. With that being said, is there anything that with these lists on these books on the challenge, is there anything to go along with them to, like, especially for the children one, because I think that is sometimes like a conversation that may not be like maybe an adult conversation, I guess, to say the least. Is there something to kind of help parents along those lines as far as that category goes?
Well, this is probably something different than what you have in mind, but we have like sort of prizes that incentivize it. So like some encouragement to, like, yeah, let's try something, and you can get different prizes from the library and such. So that's kind of fun. They also get, like, you know, digital badges. So those kinds of things within the platform digitally. Like I said, there's several different kinds. There's the CADL produced list, but then there's several other ones. And I think, you know, within that that platform, there's definitely some resources for parents in the sense of different reading lists and things that folks can explore deeper if they were interested in doing so.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I think like during this challenge, it's a great opportunity for like families to have that conversation of different perspectives, and it's doing a lot of good. Um, so do you have anything else you'd like to say, I guess, about the challenge?
I would just say, like, if people are looking for information on it, they can just go to www.cadl.org/woke, and that will lead you right to the page. Um, like I said, you can register, but you also can just look at the list even without registering. But we encourage folks, you can get some prizes, and then like grand prize entries that will have drawings for like diverse books packs and some T-shirts and things. So it's some fun things.
Yeah, that all sounds awesome. So, can they access the books on the list in person at the library as well as
Yeah.
digitally?
Yes, and a lot of them, like, yes, they're all available through the library in a variety of formats, often like a physical book, but we also have a lot of things that are in digital format or like an e-audio book that so you could hear the book also. So
Awesome. So, the Read Woke Challenge is going on through October 31st. Thank you so much, Jolie, for talking with me today.
thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yes, I really appreciate it. And best of luck on the challenge as well. Like, I hope it is very successful for all of you.
Thank you. Yes. Yeah, we've had lots of people register already, so we're glad.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.